Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dal, and patch 10.1 went live only a handful of weeks ago. But as it officially launched, we also saw the very next update of 10.15 make its way over on the PTR, which means that the following update will be arriving into our hands in the near future. So far, Dragonflight has been able to deliver an incredibly fast rate of content updates, and while there yet to be an official release date for 10.15, it will likely be here sooner than we expected, probably sometime shortly after the launch of Diablo 4. Some have already started preparing their classes, but working on a handful of ults that plan to play once this brand new update officially launches, since so many class changes are planned just on the horizon. If you are one of those people who has gotten their main squared away so far and are planning on picking up new ults in the near future, then this video will go over the 5 classes, seeing some of the biggest improvements so far for the 10.15 PTR, in case you're looking to explore some new gameplay additions and up-to-date playstyles. But right before that, most of you guys watching these videos are still not subscribed. However, the more of you remind, the more of you do. So let's keep it going. Subscribe to the channel and ring the bell if you're watching these videos anyway, especially if you want to get more regular content regarding all of the newest Dragonflight updates and changes going forward. First, we have the newest Draconic edition of the Evoker, as they broadened their horizons for the patch 10.15 with a brand new playable class spec of Augmentation. Augmentation fuses the powers of the Black and the Bronze Dragonflight to create a ranged damage dealing role with a core playstyle centering around empowering your allies. Similar to how priests can amplify their party members with power infusion, or how paladins can bless their allies' combat abilities, Augmentation Evoker empowers their allies by boosting the damage of other DPS classes, improving the survivability of tanks in raids and dungeons, and providing additional support for healers during risky combat encounters. Augmentation Evokers can also manipulate the environment in their allies' favor, along with other draconic benefits, which makes them exceptional in content like Mythic Plus dungeons. This spec adds an entirely new role to the popular class of the Evoker, which are already known for the reliable healing of Preservation and the destructive potential of Devastation. Because of their unique group-oriented buff playstyle, it is possible that Augmentation could become quite popular because of their overall group content capabilities, and even become a staple of most endgame raids and dungeon compositions, which would make Evokers an extremely competitive choice in the patch 10.15. The class of Mage is set to receive quite an overhaul for the 10.15, with the class tree going through quite a redesign. First, mages are set to lose Rune of Power, with its damage transferred into the class directly, gaining quite a bit of mobility since they are no longer tethered to their runes, but also gain even more freedom in how they customize their playstyles. Mages also gain additional capstone talent choices, melting away their icy block into an ice cold, losing the complete immunity but no longer becoming impaired, while protecting themselves with a 70% damage reduction instead. Mages can also support their allies with a mass barrier, which can shield up to 4 additional allies with elemental absorbs, or providing cover for the party members, temporarily shrouding them into invisibility for a handful of seconds. Fire mages in particular are going through quite the transformation. Like a phoenix rising from its ashes, so too are fire mages rising, renewed with new talent choices for the patch 10.15. So far throughout Dragonflight, most mages haven't felt keen on playing into the talent of Flamestrike. Therefore, Flamestrike is becoming a baseline skill for the mage spec, and is gaining far more support talents in order to encourage the use of Flamestrike in large AoE combat encounters. Fire Mage's single target is also seeing a sizable increase with Unleashed Inferno, which greatly bolsters single target damage during combustion and causes combust to cool off even faster with every single fiery blast, which allows fire mages to maintain a high combustion uptime, which results in unparalleled damage output. Next, we have the class of Warlock, where all 3 of its specs are set to receive even more updated improvements. First, we have Demonology, where the impact of Dreadstalkers is being reduced a little, as the demonic dogs tend to become the focus of most Demonology builds and playstyles. Instead, we see buffs to combat abilities like Hand of Gul'dan, Implosion, and even the Umbral Blaze passives, basic Warlock casted abilities like Demon Bolt, and improvements to the trusted Felguard. in order to keep the spec a powerful, viable choice, just with more build and talent viability. Affliction Warlocks are also seeing improvements. The current iteration of Warlock can sometimes struggle when it comes to committing to a dot management playstyle. To make these builds a lot more viable, Dread Touch is being improved, and no longer requires the needed uptime and ramp up, which makes target swapping and buff management far more feasible. The underused Doom Blossom has also been simplified. Any targets afflicted by unstable affliction immediately explodes when they get hit by Seeded Corruption, which improves on its overall AoE value. Even the Spec of Destruction comes back with additional changes. Talents like Dimensional Rift, which see very little play in raids and dungeons, are gaining additional value, as well as buffs to Crashing Chaos, where unleashing your Infernal fuels your Chaos Bolts with additional 50% damage, while Rain of Fire becomes 70% more powerful. With all of these damage buffs on the horizon, the class of Warlock is looking quite strong going forward. Druid is another class that's going through a few more changes, with the specs of Balanced Druid seeing adjustments to help facilitate even more build variety. Certain playstyle defining talent options are being slightly reduced for 10.1.5, but the base power of Balanced Druid is being increased to compensate. We also see more changes to the New Moon's playstyle, with the New Moon, Half Moon, and even the Full Moon all seeing damage improvements. Lunar Shrapnel becomes even more consistent, increasing the damage of Starfall by a sizable amount, while costing even less in the talent point investment. And Umbral Intensity will greatly buff the damage of Wrath and Starfire per talent point spent. But another spec seeing improvements is the defensive Guardian Bear Druid, which is seeing their talent tree slightly restructured and is getting additional talent tree connections. The caps on talents like Raise will no longer replace Maul, which is a much needed ability improvement. The talent of Flashing Claws will increase the maximum number of stacks the Thrash can accumulate up to 5, which will further decrease your damage taken from the bleeding targets, up to 10% of passive damage reduction. Together with the Moonfire's defensive benefits, Guardian Druids can maintain 20% damage reduction permanently, which is a massive increase for their longevity against enemy damage, especially against magic effects, which can easily pierce past the heavy bear armor. Finally, we have the class of Paladin, where specs like Protection and Retribution have seen a lot of popularity recently. Holy Paladins have not been able to capture the same attention, but are seeing even more improvements to get some support for 10.1.5. Glimmer of Light becomes a staple of every Holy Paladin playstyle, with a ton of talent interactions, which allows for much better and more consistent damage as well as healing output. Holy Paladin's damage contribution in group content will also go up, with many talents like Shining Righteousness improving their combat healing capabilities. Paladin's spot healing is also improved with talents like Hand of Divinity, Rising Sunlight, as well as general buffs to Flash of Light, making it mostly mana free, or Holy Light, which makes it even stronger and so much more rewarding to play with. Underused options like Tears Deliverance have also been increased with significant buffs, along with the new talent of Daybreak, which adds even more flexibility to the Paladin healing, but also much more improves on its mechanical depth. The caster ranged Paladin healer may also make its return, but only if tuned accordingly. With the current changes, Infusional Light and its supporting abilities, Paladins might be able to keep up their allies alive for much greater range, especially with talents like Tower of Radiance further improving the holy power generation. However, don't expect for caster Paladins to become meta just yet, as it is still impossible to tell this early into the PTR. But with enough love and support, it could potentially become at least a viable gameplay option. I want to thank all of you so much for watching this video and hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As per usual, if you guys enjoyed this video or found it informative, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. I would very much appreciate it. And as always, in the description of every single video and live stream, we have a link to our Discord community channel. Probably the best place to reach out to me directly in case you want to let me know what you thought about this video or hang out with the rest of the community to discuss some of the upcoming changes. Join our Discord to become part of the community. But otherwise, thank you all so much for watching this video. I do hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know all of your thoughts down below. And as always, I'll see all of you guys in another video.